Hello and welcome to another round of Coffee Shop Philosophy. Uh, when I was always small, when I was growing up, if ever we dropped our lollipop on the road or anything like that, our mother always used to pick it up and stick it back in her mouth. Because she always used to say that you have to let the immune system build up. You have to let the immune system build resilience and strengthen itself. And that was always the way. We were rarely sick, rarely sick as a result, even though we had everything and anything from everywhere and anywhere. And then when I went to Turkey, I went to Turkey to live for a bit. And I ate the meat in Turkey and I got violent food poisoning. There was puke coming out the mouth, coming out of every orifice. And I was violently ill. But I ended up in the hospital and that ended all meat. So when I was living in Turkey then, there was no meat, only fruit and veg and bread. So then I was sitting in a square in Turkey one evening, and I was watching two lads cooking. And one lad was cooking awful. He was cooking kidneys and making these baps. So he was cooking kidneys and steak, and he was no gloves or anything, just picking up the meat and throwing it onto the grill and opening up the bap and everything else. The HSC now would have had a field day. And then there was another lad over beside him, and he was cooking fish. And this was all going on in the open air, and he was cooking the fish and piling up all the fish. Now all the fish might be there for half an hour, and then someone would come along and just pick up the fish with a pan, throw it in, reach for the veg, throw it in the bap, make up the whole bap and hand it out. And I used to sit and watch these boys, and the smell of the offal was actually very nice. Smoke used to be everywhere when he throw it on the grill, but maybe some people find the smell revolting, but I actually like the smell of kidneys and beef cooking on the grill. But I just said to myself, if these boys were cooking over in the West, between them they kill more than cancer. And it made me think, and then I was watching Salt Bay. You know Salt Bay? Now Salt Bay has several restaurants, you know what that is, with the salt on. And he has several restaurants. And if you watch him cooking, he's not overly concerned with cross-contamination because it doesn't seem to be a big thing in Turkey. But yet the two boys were selling baps, hand over fist. And no one was getting sick because people would keep coming back and buying the baps. The same people would come back buying the baps every day, like some people are regularly. And no one was getting sick. So I said to myself, that's because the immune system builds a resilience, like it gets strong. Because like for the very same as we take vaccines over here, so a vaccine to build up our immunity to the flu, and a vaccine to build up our immunity to this and that and the other. But on the other side, all this with the HSC, a pair of gloves here, wipe down the counter, you need 2 sinks, and all this hygiene bullshit that they're implementing over here, that's actually putting people out of businesses, raising the cost of food, making it nearly impossible to run a business because you have to fill out all these jars, everything else, and they're putting all these rules and regulations in place for health and safety, and it's thinking up more bullshit, and it's people who are sitting behind offices that are actually thinking up of all the bullshit this could happen, that could possibly happen too. So we legislate against that too. With very little consideration, very little concern built for allowing the immune system to build up, or allowing how people operated years ago. And very little concern for the people who are trying to actually run a business and for what they're actually doing to price these businesses out of the market. When really you have to let these businesses just operate as they used to for years, the immune system gets a chance to build a resilience. And even if someone did get sick, so what? Let them be sick, because suffering is a part of life. But this bid to avoid suffering is actually impossible, because suffering is part of life. And as I explained in previous videos, the bit to eliminate all mental suffering and safeguard the child against all suffering, suffering just manifests itself in a different way, because it manifests itself in a mental way, and mental suffering is far worse than physical suffering. I have established that much too. But then the same HSE that's making all the rules, they don't apply it when it comes to their own businesses. They don't, to things with matters of state. They're not so fast to employ their own regulations. For instance, like houses that were built years ago are outside building regulations, like fire exits and all that applies to modern buildings. Doesn't seem to apply. They're not so quick to apply them to old houses that are built 100 years. They're not so quick to implement their own regulations. They overlook them by choice. And then in the security industry as well. In the security industry, the HSE has the back of the PSA. The PSA don't implement all the safety regulations that the HSE impose on everybody else. All the building regulations and all the regulations for the building industry that they have to wrap people in cotton wool, they don't apply to the security industry. The security industry are more or less allowed to do what they like. They're allowed to endanger people's safety because it doesn't suit the government industry to implement their own industry, because it impedes on their profit taking. You know what I mean? Like, if you actually look into it, the implications and the regulations and everything that they're imposing on everybody else in the building industry, they're not imposing on their own counterparts to hit the PSA, the security industry, because it impedes on their profit taking. And that's a fact. So if I was in the building regulation industry, I'd be asking, why are you not implementing those regulations to government agencies, to your own, when it comes to the government taking money? Just a point. But back to what I was saying about building up the immune system. So then we're back to building up the immune system, and what we have now is we have a mutation of the flu virus, and we're allowing the media to turn it into a pandemic and to profit off it, to sell face masks, to industrialize the pandemic, sell face masks, to sell hand sanitizers, to start closing down, impacting on people's businesses, impacting on people's livelihoods. And really, what the big fear is here is it a fear of death? I mean, Seneca said that the greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, and I say the greatest obstacle to living is fear. And I'll do more on that in the next videos. But can you see what this great fear is how it not only does it impedes on an individual's life. Fear stops him chasing his dreams. I'll do more on that, on how fear inhibits somebody living. It inhibits them living to their full experience, how living to their fullest potential. Fear inhibits them from chasing their dreams. Oh, what if? Fear of what could happen, even though we tend to suffer more in our imagination than we do in reality. But now the fear, as I say, the thinking of the average individual is directly proportional to the thinking of society. So now this fear that the individual has learned to succumb to is now impacting on society. This big fear of what could happen, and it's impacting on our experience as a society. It's impacting on people's lives, impacting on the way we go about our business. This fear, and what's the big fear? A big fear of getting sick. A big fear of a flu. I remember when I had the flu, I wasn't even allowed to stay home from school. On the other occasion I did get the flu, I wasn't even allowed to stay home from school. I never missed a day's work from the flu. And how many flus did I countless times. I've had more flus than like anybody of my generation has had loads of flus. How is the big fear, a flu, such a fearful thing at this time? But by society protecting us from this flu, this mutation of the flu virus, it doesn't allow our immune system to build an immunity against it. So what's going to happen is the flu virus will continue to mutate, and eventually we will get a mutation of this virus that will wipe us out, because our immune system will be so low because of all the HSE bullshit, not letting our immune system build a resilience and resistance to this. Like, if you look now, like I've had a few relationships, where you have girls that have children and stuff, and if you hand a child a lollipop, a big hissy picture, you swear you're after giving it, if the lollipop dropped to the ground, you swear you're after giving the child arsenic. But my point is that with the current regulations, what we're allowing society to do to us, it's like the emperor's new clothes. It's time somebody stood up and said, bullshit, this is bullshit. Like, even on a news programme I was watching last night, all the politicians were discussing this. They're cancelling the rugby match now. And one of the, what do you call him, who runs the show, like the political show, was half laughing at this, saying, it's a flu. And another's, no, this is all very dangerous. But it's a flu. It's just a mutation of the flu virus. And for protecting us from this, we're looking at obliterating ourselves with flu virus. Do you understand? As Nietzsche said, I wish, for everybody I'm concerned about, I wish them suffering, because it gives them a chance to overcome the suffering, because the wheat must be separated from the chaff. And for us to evolve, this is why suffering is a part of life. In order for us to evolve, we must overcome the suffering. And that's what separates the wheat from the chaff. It's all about what you do with the suffering. But the Bhagavad Gita said, neither seek pleasure nor avoid pain. We should just accept life as is, not try to fight nature, because fighting nature is a battle that we cannot win. I assure you that. We cannot win it. Nature has loads of ways to adapt to whatever way you choose to overcome it. But you cannot eliminate suffering from life. Suffering is a part of life. It just manifests itself in another way. It's like this bullshit of trying to stop the floods, damming up the floods, and all you're doing is driving back up along, so you cause more people to suffer. Do you know what I mean? By damming it here, you're causing it to backlog up along the river, causing more people back up the river to suffer. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're spending 96 million here to stop the flooding here, and if you think about it, all you're doing is causing the flood to back up the river, causing more people to flood back up the river. It's I can't get over the stupidity of people. What is human stupidity is infinite. Anyway, I'll wrap up this video by saying that we really, really as a society need to take a stand and say, this is bullshit. This is a flu virus. Let us handle the flu. Stop with the mammy state initiative, because it's trying to protect us from suffering. Let us suffer. Let us build resilience to the suffering. Do you know my point? Right. You can have a think about that, and I'll have another coffee. Think should I have another coffee or kill myself? I'll talk to you tomorrow. Yeah. See you tomorrow.